This is Kristen Loudon for HORT100 doing my project on reduced farmland in the United States. One of the biggest challenges in the farming industry right now is the fact that farmland in the United States is quickly declining. Many housing developments will buy up land for farmers that aren't doing as well in order to make new urban areas, but the effect of that is that we lose farm ground. Um, we currently have enough land to meet all of the supply demand for the agricultural industry, but in 50 years that might not be the case as the human population is increasing, but the space to grow all of our food is decreasing. And once cement or anything goes down on land that is not agricultural, then that land will never be the same. The first solution that we have for the reduced farmland is urban farming. Urban farming is cultivating, processing, and distributing food in urban areas. Why this could be good is because even though some of the farmland is disappearing, we can add new areas to create and distribute food. With more and more urban areas popping up, it would be a great idea to utilize some of the more empty spaces, even like rooftops, to create basically greenhouses within the urban areas. This would mean that people wouldn't have to wait as long for their groceries as it'd be more local, and they wouldn't have to wait for a truck to bring the produce all across the United States. Um, the one thing that we would have to watch is to make sure that growers are making sure that they're putting the correct soils in, because a lot of soils found in more urban areas tend to be contaminated in one way or another. Our next solution would be agricultural zoning. Agricultural zoning is a piece of land that is designated um, to protect the farmland from being used for anything other than farming or an agricultural purpose, such as housing development. It's local jurisdictions that can decide which land is most suitable for farming and which can be deemed an agricultural zone. And then once it is deemed as an agricultural zone, then, as I said before, it cannot be used for any other purpose than anything agricultural, so that that soil, which is the best soil that they can find, is saved and can be used for all things farming. The only issue with this one is that landowners, especially ones who weren't wanting to use the land for an agricultural reason, can fight this because it's not being used for the purpose that they wanted for, which a lot of times means they aren't getting paid the amount that they want to be getting paid, such as creating a housing development or something like that. So our last solution would be an agricultural buffer. Now, agricultural buffers are a piece of land that's maintained in a permanent vegetation that helps control air, soil, and water quality. Um, so in this case, it would be a literal buffer in between a farm or farmland and an urban area, such as like a residential neighborhood. Um, and this would be effective because many times farmers don't like all of the commotion and traffic that comes with being next to a neighborhood, and neighborhoods don't really like all of the noise and dirtiness that comes from being near a farm. So having a buffer would be helpful in that nature. Buffers are already used on farms for when a field is next to a river or a stream, and it is supposed to help with like erosion and making sure the field doesn't get eroded by the stream. So this would just be putting the buffer into a different use. Um, Sometimes it may be difficult to actually create such a space and keep it away from different developers or farmers that want to use that land. But in theory, it would prevent the two urban and rural areas from coming together and still be able to create farmland, but have the urban areas spread out around it. So my recommendation would be more agricultural zoning for the solution, as this can save a bunch of land from being used for a more permanent amount of time, and it's also one of the least costly solutions. So it's basically a win-win on both sides, and it can make sure that there is enough farmland, but that urban areas are able to spread out and grow as well.